In this video, we'll be comparing the Streamlight Stinger LED DS-HL to our Tactical Impulse LE-1 flashlight. Let's get started.
Let's begin by looking at the exterior of both lights, since they're very similar in their form factor. Right off the bat, we can see that the Stinger is longer than the LE-1 at 8.85 inches in length, and the LE-1 is 8.13 inches. The Stinger is 12.8 ounces and the LE-1 is 11.6 ounces. So the Stinger is just over an ounce heavier than the LE-1. A lot of that has to do with the nickel hydride battery used in the Stinger. They are both aluminum flashlights with an anodized finish. The Stinger has an anodized Type 2 finish and the LE-1 has an anodized Type 3 finish. The Type 3 will offer better protection against scratching and other everyday wear and tear, things that may be encountered that will cause blemishes or other imperfections to the finish itself. The Stinger is rated as weather resistant or water resistant. It can withstand some splashing with water. The LE-1 is waterproof. It is submersible down to 1 meter in water. The Stinger is also rated for a 1 meter drop test, and the LE-1 is rated for a 2 meter dead drop test. You can see the grips are different. The Stinger has a rubberized grip with this with a single direction texture in the rubber, and the LE-1 has this knurled grip pattern machined directly into the aluminum. You can see the heads are different sizes and shapes. The head of the Stinger is 1.62 inches in diameter, and the head of the LE-1 is 2.1 inches in diameter. There are some reasons why the head of the LE-1 was designed the way it is. One is to give it a nice firm grip when manipulating the head switch, and the other is to increase the surface area of the aluminum itself to increase the dissipation of heat. You can see both lights have these heat fins that are designed to help dissipate that heat, which both do produce because they are high lumen output lights. The LE-1 also has a crenulated stainless steel strike bezel. The lenses of both lights are different. The Stinger has a polycarbonate lens and the LE-1 has a shatter-resistant glass lens. Both are designed to accomplish different things. The polycarbonate lens will better withstand impact, while the glass lens is better designed to withstand everyday wear and tear items like scratching, fogging. It will probably be easier to clean as well. You can see the reflectors are very different. Because of the increased head size of the LE-1, the surface area of its reflectors increased as well. This allows the light to be focused, while the heavy texture allows the light to also be spilled to the periphery, providing for a lot of peripheral illumination. We can see in the Stinger, the reflector is deep, it is narrow, it's smooth on the top, and then towards the base where the LED is, there is the light texture to give some peripheral flood. You can also see on the LE-1, the reflector lips in almost to meet the LED, and that's designed to reflect as much light as possible out of the lens of the flashlight, optimizing its light output. The reflector of the Stinger is made out of plastic, and the reflector in the LE-1 is machined out of solid aluminum. Let's take a look at the batteries and the charging systems of both of these lights. With the Stinger, to remove the battery, you remove the tail cap, which I will mention at its base on the outside is plastic by the switch, and the middle portion of the tail cap is aluminum. Once the tail cap is removed, the battery will slide out. It's a proprietary Streamlight battery. It's a 2200 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride battery pack. To reinsert, just reinsert it back into the flashlight. I'll also mention that because of the way the battery is designed, once the tail cap provides any pressure to the battery into the light, the switches will then be able to activate the light. So you won't be able to give the tail cap a quarter turn and lock out the switches if you want to store it in a bag of some kind. To charge the Stinger, you have several Streamlight charging options to choose from. I have a standard charger here with an AC power adapter. I'll go ahead and plug it into our power source, and to attach the adapter, you will plug in these prongs to the base of the cradle charger. And then to insert it into the charger, line up the charging poles facing the charging base and then pull through. While charging, the light will illuminate red and it will start to flash when the charge has been completed. To remove, push up and either all the way out, or you can pull the light out of the charger. To remove the battery on the LE-1, you will also remove the tail cap, which is solid aluminum. Inside you will find a Tactical Impulse 18650 3100 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery and a battery holder. The battery holder has an indicator telling you which way the battery should be oriented upon replacement. It also has an indication telling you which way the battery holder should be inserted back into the flashlight. When storing the LE-1, you are able to give the tail cap just a quarter turn, at which time neither switch will activate the flashlight. To charge the LE-1, you do have some charging options. You can charge the battery in a separate battery charger, so you'll remove the battery, place it in an external battery charger, or you can use the LE-1 cradle charger, which also comes with AC or DC power adapters. To charge, you will plug your selected adapter into the cradle charger, tighten the locking collar so your connection stays nice and secure. Plug this into our power source. You'll see the charger will go through a brief self-test. To charge the LE-1, slide it into the charging neck. The orientation doesn't matter. Just slide it in, insert it. It will click into place. The indication light will be red when charge is in progress. During the charge cycle, it will gradually turn green as the charge of the light increases. The cradle charger does keep the light firmly in place. To remove, simply pull the light out of the charger. The cradle charger also has an additional battery bay for charging a spare battery. The Stinger is rated at 640 lumen max output. This value will drop after 15 minutes of usage on a freshly charged battery down to about 500 lumens. And it will remain at that lumen output for the remainder of its runtime. The LE-1 is a 595 max lumen output light. The runtime of the Stinger is 1.25 hours on its high mode, and the runtime of the LE-1 on its high mode is 2.1 hours. Let's go ahead and look at the switching interface and the user interface of both lights. Both lights are dual switch. The switch at the head and the switch at the tail on both lights operate the same way, so there's no confusion by two different switch operations. On the Stinger, when pressure is partially applied to the switch, the light will be activated, known as momentary. A full depression until a click is heard and felt will keep the light powered on, and a subsequent click will turn the light off. The light has 4 modes: high, medium, low, and a strobe mode. To cycle through the high, medium, and low modes, users will hold down the button in that click position and the light will begin to cycle through its different modes. When the mode reaches its spot in the cycle that the user wants, they simply release the switch and they can navigate to a different mode. They have to click and hold the switch to find the new mode. When powered off, it will always power back on in high mode. To reach the strobe function, the light may be double clicked at any time and the light will begin to strobe. When powered off, again, it will always power back on in high mode. Similar to the Stinger, the LE-1 has momentary function by partially depressing the switch. There is a tactile break in that switch throw that signals where this momentary activation is. Depressing the switch further until that click is heard and felt will keep the light powered on. To cycle through its mode, it also has high, medium, low, and strobe. You partially depress the switch to cycle through the modes while powered on. The LE-1 has two different programming options to choose from. By default, it will always power back on in high mode every time, similar to the Stinger. And programming option number 2, mode memory, is introduced. To program the LE-1, you will use either the Tactical Impulse LE-1 Smart Holster unit or the cradle charger. To program, insert the light into either unit and depress both the head and the tail switch together for a minimum of 5 seconds. When programming is in progress, the light will begin to flash 3 times. Now, the LE-1 will remember the last mode that we used and will turn back on in that mode. So for example, I will navigate to the strobe mode, I will power the light off, and now even when I do momentary activations, you can see we are still locked into that strobe mode. There are no timing rules, so I can push this switch as fast or as slow as I want to, and we are still in that mode. The LE-1 also has different accessories that you can use with it that work with the LE-1. We just looked at the smart holster. The LE-1 is also holster aware with the smart holster. If the light is powered on, it will automatically turn off when holstered. And while it's in the holster, neither switch will be able to activate the light output. Another accessory that can be used with the LE-1 is the LE-1 traffic baton. This piece uses power from the main LE-1 battery to power its internal array of red LEDs. It has its own power switch to turn the unit on and off. It can strobe or can stay steady on, and while it's being used, the main light can be used simultaneously. Another extension that can be used with the LE-1 is the Size and Life extension pack. Inside the Life and Size extension pack is an additional lithium-ion battery that, when attached, puts both of the batteries in parallel configuration. This increases the size of the LE-1 as well as its operating runtime. That concludes our demonstration. We hope you found it educational, and we hope to see you again.